I went thrift shop hunting again for books, this time a little bit out of town. This is just after the Boxing Day. I had 2 more coupons to waste before the end of the year. I'm going to be donating a bunch of stuff, getting a bunch of new coupons for 2025, but I wanted to make sure that I hit the last 2 shops that were more or less in the area. One was about an hour away, but I checked it out and I was pleasantly surprised. I got a total of 20 books. 4 of them were for someone else. So I got 20, and I'll start right away with one where it's basically, I talked about this one in the last book haul. The cover of this Shannara book is very ripply. I don't know if it's moisture or what's going on. There you go. You can kind of see it there on the side. Like there's some warpage going on, right? Even on the back cover here. And I had found 2 of these copies at the thrift shop that was near me for $5.99 each, and they were both equally damaged. I'm not sure how, I'm not sure why, but at one of these thrift shops, I found a perfect copy. The cover is in perfect condition. It was more expensive, I think. Well, $6.99 is not that much more, right? $6.99, but it becomes a perfect copy of the shortest Shannara series for this, the Voyage of the Jarl or Jerle, Shannara, Isle Witch, and it is an absolutely perfect condition on the inside as well. And strangely enough, there were no other versions of this particular trilogy in that thrift shop. It was literally, and this was the only Shannara book that was at that thrift shop. So I got super lucky for $6.99. Can't go wrong. I'll just redonate that one when I'm unhauling a bunch of books for coupons, of course, so I can get more books. And to be fair, there's just a little bit of a rip here. I don't know if I just did that or I don't know. I'm flipping this around in my hand like this. Maybe I made it worse. So I'm going to put this book down now before it gets any worse, because I'm really happy that I got this Terry Brooks Shannara book. This is the last one of the collections I'm looking for. There are another 3 books in this set for it's called The Word and the Void Omnibus. That might be an omnibus with these 3 novels in it. I've never seen them at the thrift shops. It's running with the Demon, A Knight of the Word, and Angel Fire East. Not sure what those are, but it's part of a collection, an omnibus, so if I find that one, great. But otherwise, I'll try to find those standalone novels, and I will complete my Terry Brooks collection. Damn it, except for the Sword of Shannara, the first of the series, because I'm looking for the original printing of it, the one from the 80s, I get the 79 or something like that, because I ended up finding the Elf Stones of Shannara and the Wish Song of Shannara in that older edition, so now I want them to match. So that's just the way things roll. So moving on to the next book, I got The Walking Dead, The Fall of the Governor, Part 1. There's a second part of this one. This is the 3rd one in this Walking Dead series. There's way more than I thought. I had found the first 2 at thrift shops, and I didn't even know Walking Dead was releasing novels at the time. And so I found out about that. I got a list together of everything that was printed in prose, and there are a total of 8 that I'm tracking right now. So The Fall of the Governor Part 1 and 2, I'm missing Descent, Invasion, Search and Destroy, and Return to Woodbury. So right now I got the first 3 books in the series. Anyways, it's a hardcover. I'm not sure if they all came in hardcover, but this is the first one I've seen in hardcover, and it is basically it's a $29 book Canadian. I got it for $5.99. You can't go wrong, and it is in perfect condition as a hardcover. The pages are perfect. Everything's great. I mean, it's crazy how many books I find at these thrift shops that are actually in immaculate condition, especially for used books that are like, let's say, 10, 15, 20 years old, 30-year-old books. That's insane. 80s, 40-year-old books sometimes. Like that Terry Brooks one, that's probably not a 40-year-old book, but I found some books printed in the 80s that are in perfect condition. I found another Christopher Moore book. I got Island of the Sequined Love Nun. I'm near certain I've read this one. There was definitely one I read about an island, but I think there were 2 that take place on an island. This would have been, I would have read this one 25 years ago. Does that sound right from a publication perspective? There's something like a something demon. Let me just look at the list here. We got Peaceful Demon Kinking. Kinking? Really? Is that like it was Practical Demon King. Practical Demon Keeping. I'm near certain I read about this one. Am I crazy? For those of you who have read Christopher Moore, does that not introduce a character like the Biff character that ends up in Lamb? Is that a version of Biff or like a demon? There's like a demon. I'm tripping everything up. Coyote Blue is probably the first Christopher Moore book that I read. I don't remember much, but I sort of remember enough. Actually, I do. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Blood-Sucking Fiends is one that I feel like I started, but I never finished. It was on a road trip. It was an audiobook, and I never finished. The Lust Lizard of Melancholy Cove. That's the one I read. Take a wonderfully crazed excursion into the demented heart of a tropical paradise, a world of cargo cults, cannibals and scientists, ninjas, and talking fruit bats. That's sort of parts of this feel familiar to me. Anyways, for people who know anything about the series of books and are familiar with the Lust Lizard of Melancholy Cove, let me know if there's some sort of connection piece here. And then we got Lamb, which is next, and we got Fluke. Now, I read Fluke in audiobook form, so I mean, I'm pretty sure there's more books than that. Because there's like one something bitten or bite or something. There's like a vampire one. I'm near certain Practical Demon Keeping and Coyote Blue were the first ones I ever read in the series. Lust Lizard of Melancholy Cove for sure, and Fluke I read for sure. So there you go. We got another one, Christopher Moore. This one was for $4.99, and as you can see, man, relatively perfect condition. We got a mark here. It's probably like a sale from a library collection or something like that. But the spine only has a very minor crease in the center there. Got a bit of a frayed corner, but otherwise it's a perfectly solid book. And this is the trade dress that I'm kind of looking for the series. There's this nasty sticker here at the front that I feel like when I start to try to rip it off, it's probably going to damage the cover, and I'm a little bit sad about that, to be honest. But this is the trade dress that I'm looking for this series. I want the entire collection like this. I've seen other versions, but I refuse. I'm going to buy this one. I'm going to find these ones. Damn it, I said. So I couldn't sleep one night, and I woke up at 5 in the morning. I'm like, well, look, if I'm going to be tossing and turning, I might as well start an audiobook to try to fall asleep. And, you know, it'll just like, and I'll continue in the morning of what I can't finish. I talked about this on one of my last updates, and it was for The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. And it was about a 5.5 hour audiobook. I played at times 2 speed, and I believe I was up for about an hour and a bit. So I probably got to about 50% of the book, I would imagine, and I wanted to read the last 50%. Now, this was YouTube that recommended this to me on my home feed. Can't find it anymore, so obviously it was illegally uploaded. But it got suggested to me, and I took advantage of it while I could. But then I found a couple copies of this in the thrift shop near me. There was 2 copies there, and I was like, I should just buy this and just have it on the shelf, read it once in a while, just check it out right, and just finish it. Like, be able to finish it with like a hybrid form. Like, I can read and hearing is the fastest way I can get through a book, you know? And then I ended up buying 2 copies when I did this run. One of the covers was actually, this was censored. It was redacted, and on the back cover too. And any of the suggestive word that might have been was redacted, and that ended up going to someone else, but because I wanted this version. And then I found this at the second thrift shop, so I got lucky, and it's in relatively decent condition. I mean, the spine is perfect. Everything is perfect. It's as if it hasn't been cracked open and read, to be honest. These are generally read in like an afternoon. They're really fast reads. The pages are, they're perfect condition. Now there's just a little bit of a crease here on the corner. You can see it in the light, the glare there, and one at the top there, but it's faint. You can kind of see the bend there on the top corner. But otherwise, it's a perfectly solid book, and I will very likely finish this today or tomorrow, just because I know I'm at least halfway through it. So I'm looking forward to this. He's also on YouTube. This is where I originally heard about Mark Manson. I had his content was just suggested to me over the years, and he's very blunt. He's as blunt as this cover is blunt. This is how he's a self-help kind of guy, which just doesn't cut corners in the way he's trying to express his ideas. And it's a new language for a new audience, for a new generation. And then I got lucky enough to find Everything is Fcked, a book about hope by Mark Manson. Same cover, trade dress design, and the condition is relatively perfect as well. Just a couple little frays there on the bottom edge here and a little bit on the corner here, but you know what? It's barely noticeable. Pages are in pretty much perfect condition. So hey, I'd like to read about hope again someday. Did I say the cover price of this one? I think this one was $5.99, $5.49 at one thrift shop, and then the one that was a little bit further away, all of their prices were a little higher. I'm not sure, because it was a very small town. Like this, we're talking like it's a very small town. But for whatever reason, their prices were a little bit hiked up. So $6.49 for basically the same book. Like the place nearer to me is the one with the best selection, especially for fantasy and sci-fi, and the best prices. But hey, for an extra $1, you're still, buying 4, getting 1 free. It can't go wrong, man. Can't go wrong. And then the 20% off coupons, right? Usually like these self-help books, like they have a lot of margin space, like gutters and stuff like that. This one just ramps through. Me hearing the audiobook of this though, it just felt like it was just clipping through and it wasn't a lot of substance. But it's like, that just makes it sound bad. But this, listen, these are good. I highly recommend these books. Like that one, I've gotten halfway through The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, and it's probably a 5 out of 5 for me. Strongly recommend without even reading this book. I say check him out on YouTube too. You'll kind of get a sense and a vibe for how he presents his information, and you either like it or you don't. You know what I mean? It's either your cup of tea or you're going to move on, as we will right now. I ended up finding another Joe Hill book. We got Horns here. It does have some usage here. I needed that 5th book or 9th and 10th book as I was wont to do, because I got 10 books in each haul, and I needed to get that extra one in. And I figured, it's Joe Hill. The book isn't in terrible condition. Like, the spine is actually in a relatively perfect condition. It's got some wear on the spine here, some waste, like banging and scratching around places. But strangely enough, like, the cover itself looks frayed and well read. The pages are in relatively good condition, and it's just the cover. It seems to be a little bit dinged up. For $5.49 though, you can't go wrong. It's another Joe Hill book. I got the Fireman in a thrift haul too. It was a hardcover. Now, if I find Joe Hill books in hardcover, I'll probably replace them, to be honest. I hate not min-maxing this way, but there's certain books that if I find them in hardcover, I'll probably replace them. I just got this because if I start getting into Joe Hill, I'll probably like do a back-to-backer, I'll do Fireman on this one. Like, the text does go like holy shit. Like, it literally goes to the margins. Oh, I got a leaf in here. Was that someone's bookmark? Just a random little leaf. Anyways, yeah, it's crazy. Like, that they were not wasting space on this print. Holy crap, look at the margin. Like, you want to maybe get some gutter in there, man? I'm looking forward to reading Joe Hill because I've read some of his comic book work, right? But I haven't read any of his prose. Being Stephen King's son, he doesn't really write like Stephen King. I read Stephen King when I was in my teens, but I sort of fell off. I'm not sure. Like, The Stand was great. Of course, I enjoyed it. Everyone sort of talks about The Stand, right? The Dark Tower series is one that I'd like to eventually get it. And I find, like, books here and there at the thrift shops, like, usually book 4 for some reason. But I can't find the other ones. Like, The Gunslinger, I believe, is book 1. I can never find it. Or I find, like, the mass market paperback, and it's just like, I don't want, no, they have to match. Like, if I'm going to find them, they're going to be the thick boy books, you know what I mean? Anyways, and then I needed that 9th and 10th book kind of scenario, and then ended up finding a really good quality book of the Illiad. I'm familiar with the Illiad, but I've never read it, but look at, like, that. I mean, it's perfect condition. Like, this thing literally came off of, like, a bookstore shelf. This is insane how good quality this is. $4.99 for this book, and it's pristine. It's pristine. And so I figured, you know what? I mean, I might as well have this on my shelf. One day, I'll get around to actually reading the Illiad by Homer. And the cover's got this, like, nice, it's not quite that soft velvet feel, but it's like halfway there. It feels good. Anyways, and because it was in such perfect condition, I'm like, I have to get it. I have to get it, man. Okay? And so there we go. We got the Illiad. And, hey, awesome condition, $4.99. Can't go wrong. Takes another book off the list of stuff that I want. Now, do I talk about this stack next? Sure, we'll talk about this stack in the middle because these were thick boys here. We got Steven Erikson, Reaper's Gale. This is book 7 of the Malazan Books, of the Book of the Fallen. And yes, of course, there's some creasing here because it's so goddamn thick. This book is like a tome. You could knock someone out with this thing, man. This is a brick. And strangely enough, I have book 4 that I found at a thrift shop, but it's the mass market paperback edition. And it's just like, I just wanted it because I'm like, I could never find them. And I'm like, I got to start the series at some point, like collecting them. Maybe I can buy better versions of it if I really enjoy it. I do really feel like I'm going to enjoy the Malazan Book of the Fallen series just because I really love world building. It's probably my favorite thing to write in any case. I write more world building, world Bible docs for novels that I never finish than I do novels that I never finish. So, I mean, I'm trying to finish one this year, and I'm fighting because I've started like 5 other world guide Bibles for other ideas that I want. I'm like, just finish one of the novels, man. So anyways, the front cover here is not that bad. It's only a little bit frayed there on the corner, and there's like a crease here on that side right there, right? And of course that sucks, right? But it's gonna happen for big, meaty books like this. Oh my god, it is dense on the inside too, man. This is like BookTube is not kidding around when they talk about this series. Anyways, Reaper's Gale. It's unfortunate I found book 7 at this thrift shop. I actually ended up, like, it caught my eye because I found book 8 as well, Toll of the Hounds. And similar scenario here. The front cover is actually relatively undamaged. The spine has, of course, some faint creasage here because of thick boy status, and otherwise, my god, look at the book is in relatively perfect condition, man. And so, hey, that's at least 2 books down, right? Damn, that is like dense. That is some, I'm not even in the camera. That is some dense material, man. Anyways, I'm looking forward to diving into this world, but of course, I need to find the first books. If I find half of these, I'm willing to go and buy the other half, like that kind of thing, and I'll just get started. Or I'll buy book 1 and get started, because of course, it caught my eye because I also found book 9, Steven Erikson's The Dust of Dreams, A Tale of the Malazan, Book of the Fallen. You get the drill. You're gonna hear me repeat myself. Of course, you got some mild creasage there. Now, this one took some more damage here on the top corner here, right? But man. Oh my god! Oh my god! I didn't flip through this to like see how much damage was actually done here. But listen, chunky boy, 3 of them. of the same design and trade dress, I had to get it. And you know, again, it can just get replaced. Each of these was $6.99, right? So I mean, 20% off, right? I'm paying like maybe $5 something for them because I got one free or whatever the case might be, and so I can't go wrong. I wanted to at least get started. The bottom corner also has a little bit of a crease there, but anyways, I can always replace these if I find them. At this particular thrift shop, I found these 3, but listen, the entire set was there. It's just all of them were like, they were all over the place. There was like mass market paperback size, the one that I got for book 4. Book 4 was there. I think book 3 was there. Maybe 5 and 6 were there. I probably saw 12 books there. I know there are 10 books, but there was one written, and I'm not going to know now off memory. It was not Steven Erikson. It was someone else. And it wasn't part of the 10 books, because I take my list with me when I go to thrift shops now, and it wasn't part of my 10 books. So are there like series outside of the 10 Book of the Fallen? I don't have them on my list, if that's what's going on. Like books that maybe focus in on parts of these world, and then they tell, another author tells a story inside this world. I'm not sure, but I saw at least 1 or 2 of those kinds of books there, and then all the rest were there, but they were all mass market paperbacks. And I would have gotten them if they were good condition, but they looked like they went through a war zone. Like they were so bad. They were so bad condition. I couldn't do it. Despite how much I want to get into the series, I'm like, because if I'm paying $4.99 or $5.99 for a book that's completely beat up, I might as well wait for a deal at like on Amazon or something like that, or you know what I'm saying, like I'll get free shipping from Amazon, but they'll all come decent condition, and I'll just buy the last 4 or 6 books that I need, you know, and they're going to come in decent condition, and I might pay $10 or $12 instead. I mean, I'm saying for mass market paperback books, because these chunky boys are almost $30 each Canadian, for $26.95, right? So obviously you're making huge savings if you get them at the thrift shop, but we'll see. Maybe I'll do the mass market, and then if I see these thick boys at the thrift shop in good condition, decent condition, like a 7 out of 10 condition, 6 out of 10, like this one, The Dust of Dreams. Like this cover right here, like that's going into the 5 out of 10 territory for me. But again, it's the risk of not being able to find this again, made me buy it anyways. But I would prefer to get books that are at least 6 or 7 out of 10, which takes us to, I found Michael Crichton's The Lost World. So I am still looking for Jurassic Park. I found one in mass market paperback version of Jurassic Park, but it was beat up to hell. And then one of them was in decent condition, but I'm like, oh, now I'm getting the hardcovers. Like, I feel like I want the hardcovers now. So Michael Crichton's The Lost World. I believe this is the sequel to Jurassic Park. $7.99. This is at the thrift shop that everything is about $1, $1.50 more. The other one's nearby me. It's got that parchment-esque paper. I love the feel of this. I still do every time I find a book with this paper. It is an extra push for me to get it, but it is in relatively bad condition. Like the flap here looks like completely mangled, but the inside of the book is in great condition. So, I mean, you can't go wrong. It's a dust jacket, right? So damage is going to happen. There's like a crease in the middle there, glare there, shining over all that damage, right? There's like, I would have left it behind, but it's the first time I've seen this book in hardcover. And now that I've kind of jumped into Michael Crichton, I'm going to get the hardcovers, even at $7.99. I get the 5 books, right? You get one free. You get an excuse. Now, they did screw up the bringing these books in. I ended up paying full price for 2 of them. God damn it. I didn't get my 20% off for 3 of them. I didn't get my 20% off, which sucks. But anyways, I still made a killing, which I'll talk about at the end. I ended up finding another book from Michael Crichton. And like, if this is a trade dress that is out there for some of his books, then I would like to have this series. Red, black, and white is my favorite combination of colors. And so we'll see. I got Prey. I don't really remember what this one is. I don't know if it's like, I think it's like a virus thing. It says Nevada desert, an experiment has gone horribly wrong. A cloud, with nanoparticles, micro robots has escaped from the laboratory, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to read any further. So Prey looks like something I would enjoy. Now, I found one that was, Apocalypse something. Andromeda Strain might have been one I found. And then there was one that sounded more like it was a political kind of stuff. And I'm like, I'm not really into that. I would like this kind of stuff, more science-y, kind of out there, right? Little sci-fi, but like grounded in like real world kind of feeling, like it could be plausible. I love his, because of Jurassic Park, I loved that approach. If that's the kind of writer he is, yes, I think I would dig his work, but I'm not sure if I'm going to get into that whole political intrigue stress. But I'm not sure. I don't even know what the genre is called. I'm not sure it's for me, but Prey. So another hardcover, and again, I didn't talk about, perfect condition, $6.99, can't go wrong. And I will keep a lookout for more Michael Crichton in this hardcover edition. Oh, it can't be a trade dress because they're not actually the same publisher that published these. So I'm not sure, folks. Not sure. I just lucked out. Red, black, and white, because I think the Andromeda strain one that I found was also red, black, and white, but it was damaged, and so I didn't end up getting it. I just let it go, and I wasn't familiar with it, so I got nervous. And I'm just like, let me just read one of the books. Let me read one or two. Let me just read the books I have, and then we'll see. It takes me to the last stack of books. I ended up finding more Ian Rankin books. We got the Falls here, which is book 12 of the series. Trade dress is familiar to the ones that I've already bought along the way. Now this one does have some heavy creasage in the spine there, and it's also got mega warpage, but these are books where there are 47 of them or whatever it is I counted, and I'm at 20 or so, and so hey, I'm at about 50% at this point. I still managed to find some here and there. I figured like with enough like massaging, I could probably get this thing to act like a normal book. Act like a normal book. I can probably get that to straighten out with enough weight on it and stuff like that. And we'll see. If it's in a shelf long enough and like really compressed with, you know, books around it, I can probably get this thing to more or less straighten out. But hey, I'm just happy that I found another book, because this is getting harder and harder to find Ian Rankin books at these thrift shops, because I've already bought out so many of them, right? I do find the mass market paperback editions of these books, but at this point I've sort of committed to this size of book. I like the feeling of these bigger books in my hand, and so I'm gonna hunt down more of these Ian Rankin ones. So anyways, the Fall, book 12. I ended up getting another one with this trade dress, which is probably my favorite, which I talked about in the past thrift shop haul videos. I like these, even whether they're the soft covers or the hard covers. I just like the way these look. I like the way they feel. They have that soft velvet touch on them. And so we have Even Dogs in the Wild. This is book 20 of the Rebus series of books, the new John Rebus. I'm not sure why it's the new John Rebus, but we'll find out. I mean, I got plenty of read. Did I say the price of this one? This one for $6.99. We got this hardcover for $6.49. That's the difference of thrift shops. It's otherwise in perfect condition, can't go wrong. And so continuing down the line, I found another Ian Rankin book. This is A Heart Full of Headstones. This is book 24 of the Rebus books. There's 25 of the Rebus books, so this is the second last one of the Rebus set. So this is probably one of the more modern ones, which I would imagine would be harder to find because they'd be newer. Yeah, first published in 2022. Pretty friggin' new book, right? It's a 2-year-old book. I mean, it's in perfect condition. I don't know what shelf this came off of, but it doesn't feel like it was read at all. The pages are nearly crisp white. It's crazy. Finding these like later books, I imagine would have been harder, but here's the thing. I almost got all of them. I'm looking at my list right now. I'm missing 6 Rebus books. 7. I am missing 7 Rebus books out of 25. That's crazy. That was a crazy run, man, of Rebus. So 50% of all of Ian Rankin's books of this crime genre, but pretty high amount in terms of the Rebus books. So that was I've only started collecting these like I think a month and a half ago. So that was a pretty good thrift run, man, on Ian Rankin. A Heart Full of Headstones. And finally, I got Ian Rankin. This is one of those solo books, The Flood. This is book 1. I got them in a group called Standalone Novels. So there's 4 of them that I'm aware of. This is The Flood, and I've got another one. I got The Watchmen, and now I'm missing West Wind and Doors Open, and then I'll have all the standalone novels as well of Ian Rankin's series. So Heart Full of Headstones, for cover price of $8.49 at this thrift shop. That was a little bit more expensive. $7.49 for this one. It is thinner than this one, but like both of these are in perfect condition. But this thrift shop, $6.49. This thrift shop, $8.49. It's just maybe it's more remote, and so they got to make more profits because it's harder to like move things in a city that doesn't have as much foot traffic, you know what I mean? But anyways, that's a haul. 16 books. Now I have a bunch of mixed stuff in these receipts, so I'm gonna have to add them all together. It's gonna be chaotic, but at the high level, each of these books cost me about $4 Canadian. So there you go. That's what, $3 American. Is my math right there? It's like 140 right now. American dollar is kicking our ass right now. The math could be slightly off, but it's still, buy 4, get the 5th free, 20% off. The lady screwed up, and I paid full price for 3 of the books, and it was a $7+ ones, unfortunately. So I didn't min-max for 3 of the 20 books, and then 4 books went to somewhere else. But for this collection right here, I think it was a good run, because if you look at the cover price for these Erikson books alone, right, you're talking about $30 each. That's $90. Like with tax in Canada, that's going to take you over $100 on just 3 of the books of the 16 in this collection. So I can't go wrong when I've paid maybe $60 for all of these books. Again, $4 each, I would imagine. So there you go. Not a bad haul, right? I mean, cover price alone is probably over $300-$400 for these hardcovers. Thrift shops, baby. Thrift shops. And now we're entering the new year. I imagine like when spring comes around, weather gets a little better, I might travel a little bit further. I want to get back into road tripping, and so I'm going to find an excuse. My excuse is to hunt down more books, especially the Steven Erikson ones, Ian Rankin ones. That's like, I could buy them new, but now it's like the hunt is what's enjoyable for me. You know what I mean? It's like finding that extra one book. Yes, you know, or two. You're like, whoa, that's even crazy. But like finding 3 of these thick ass Erikson ones. Yeah, baby. Like this is good. So that's the haul so far. And very likely the last haul of 2024. I only started doing these, I guess, since September for the last 4 months. And it's been a lot of fun. It really has. It gives me a reason to kind of go out there and just hang out with books and like chill for a little bit, but not around here, not around digital. Just get out there and like do something I enjoy. Like I could just go to the library and sign a bunch out, but here, man, buying one of these books for like $3, $4, $5, man, that's crazy, because I don't mind having books around me. You know what I mean? Like I love books being around me. I just feel like I always have something I can pick up off the shelf. I'm usually reading 3 to 4 books in any given week. You know, I'm just cycling through. I try to do a TBR. I've tried on this channel to do a TBR, but I fail. I fail at it because I get distracted with something else I want to read, and then I just gun it. And if it's really good and compelling, then I'd say it's for the 1 or 2 days. I'm just reading that one thing, you know. Anyways, this channel and these vlogs were supposed to sort of help me organize my reading habits and share it with people out there. Hey, I'm enjoying the journey along the way, and I'll catch you in the next year. Hopefully everyone is healthy, and hopefully you're looking forward to 2025. I'll see you there. Don't forget to explore, engage, and inspire, buddy. Peace.